Bayley teases leaving WWE. Randy Orton disgusted at his own company's ticket prices. And Rock, the final Dwayne Johnson himself, reveals why he didn't feature on WrestleMania 41. You just didn't really feel like it. I'm Ollie Davis, and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
During The Rock's WWE return feud with CM Punk back in 2013, he would wear Team Boots 2 Asses t-shirts with the numbers 24/7, 365 on the back. That means putting those boots to the asses 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Over 10 years later, in 2025 though, he's more on track for 24/6, 312. Because in the main event of WrestleMania 41 Night 2, where Cody Rhodes was defending his WWE Championship against the heel John Cena, the same John Cena who sold his soul to The Rock 6 weeks prior at Elimination Chamber, The Rock didn't show up. It was a very disappointing end to what had been a very good night too, and Rock's lack of involvement was heavily criticised by almost everyone, because the whole storyline and match felt like it had been designed around the final boss turning up to finally give Cena the payment for selling his soul to him. But it turns out that payment was the Grammy Award-winning musical artist Travis Scott wearing a replica hardcore title. In the wake of many blaming him for Mania's anticlimactic end, he made a video link appearance on yesterday's Pat McAfee show to explain the real reason he wasn't at WrestleMania. And the story starts all the way back in February. The Rock revealed in the interview that about a month before the Elimination Chamber PLE, where Cena would turn heel, the final boss, Ari Emanuel, who is the head of not just TKO, where Rock has his board seat, but its parent company Endeavor, called him to personally ask Johnson to appear at the Chamber show. Apparently due to ticket sales being low, and Emanuel wanting that PLE to be a must-see event by itself, rather than just a stop on the road to WrestleMania. Following that, Rock had a phone call with Emanuel, Nick Khan and Paul Levesque to throw around ideas for what he could do with another WWE run, which was probably quite awkward, because Rock had decided to resolve his year-long feud with Cody Rhodes the month before that on the Netflix debut of Raw. They came up with the idea that the final boss character no longer wants championship titles or money. He wants people's souls. And specifically, one person's soul, Cody Rhodes, turning him heel, which The Rock claimed lots of fans wanted to see happen. A week or two later, presumably trying to scramble to find a way to deal with this massive spanner that had just been thrown into his year-long Mania build machine, Levesque suggested that Cena sells his soul to The Rock instead of Cody, which The Rock loved. Cena agreed too, and said he wanted to anchor his new heel character in the Let's Go Cena, Cena Sucks chants it had to endure throughout his career. Before I get into why Rock then didn't appear for the Mania angle he himself set up, here's a word from this video's sponsor. Uploading the news, but... wait, what? Cybercriminals? They've stolen my data! Cybercriminals have stolen the news!
Hello, mate. What's going on?
No, not the cybercriminals! They've stolen my news again!
Oh, precious little Ollie, don't worry about that. We'll get your news back in a jiffy, but for the moment, you've just got to be careful.
How am I meant to do that? Stop clicking on every pop-up?
Well, yeah, definitely for sure I would start by doing that. But you can also sign up for Surfshark VPN.
Surfshark?
Yeah, Surfshark.
Surfshark?
Yeah, Surfshark. You see, Surfshark is a VPN service that not only protects your data and keeps your IP address safe from cybercriminals, but also lets you watch content from all across the planet. You can get 4 months extra now with our code WrestleTalk. Go to surfshark.com/WrestleTalk or use the link in the description and you can find whatever content you need while also keeping yourself safe online. Just click the link in the description and get your 4 months extra free now.
Oh, that sounds great. So how am I going to get the news back?
Don't worry about that. I have my ways.
You don't know, do you?
No, I think you're going to have to re-record it.
Son of a bitch. The Rock being called in after the Rumble fits with what we saw transpire on screen. Up until that point, I believe they were building a story of Rhodes versus Cena, but basing it on Cena's babyface pursuit of a record-breaking 17th world title, which would be contrasted with Cody's increasing isolation as a long-reigning world champion. Levesque had been telling a really great long-term story of all of Rhodes' friends slowly turning on him. AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins. The Royal Rumble Go Home episode of Raw had CM Punk clearly lay it out. This is the point in a title reign where you have no friends left. That turned Punk heel back in 2012. Don't let the same paranoia take hold of you. You make it seem like Cody is going to be the one to turn heel at WrestleMania, when actually, as the Wrestling Observer have reported, it's a swerve for John, who is the one who goes bad in the main event. But instead, several weeks after that first phone call from Emmanuel, The Rock suddenly announced he'd be appearing on the 21st of February episode of SmackDown, where, in true Rock style, he seemed to turn heel and babyface several times in one segment. He made the big announcement that WrestleMania 42 would take place next year in New Orleans, which is where that episode of SmackDown was taking place. But then he delivered his new heel final boss offer to Cody, that he'd make him a megastar in return for Rhodes' soul. Emmanuel got his wish. Elimination Chamber had become must-see. Not because of the chamber matches so much, but because of the intrigue of an appearance from The Rock and whether Cody would sell his soul to him. It turned out to be Cena in one of the greatest wrestling angles in history. Unfortunately though, in hindsight, Emmanuel wanting Chamber to be a big success on its own terms undermined the longer-term story that would have made WrestleMania 41, the more important show, a complete all-time storyline. Because The Rock seems to think in his McAfee interview that his mission was to kick off Mania season with that incredible Chamber moment, and then hand the ball to the other guys to run with. I called John after Elimination Chamber, spoke to him, called Cody, and I said, I think the final boss work is done. We've established it. We have 6 weeks, now let's build. You guys go and crush it, I'll be right there with you, and I'm always here if you need me, but I think it's best for the final boss not to be involved in that finish. 6 weeks to plan for that. I knew then the best thing for the final boss. We've established this idea with Cody's soul and can always come back to it. I did feel and I made the call that I don't want to be involved in that. Let the final boss step back into the shadows and let all the spotlight go to John. Let it go to Cody. Let's not make it about John's soul or Cody's soul. Let's let them do what they do. So humble, almost as humble as Triple H. To The Rock, the storyline then became about Cena's mission to ruin professional wrestling. Which is true. That's exactly what the next 6 weeks of the road to WrestleMania became, with no mention of The Rock or Travis Scott. But that still left a huge rock-sized hole in the story, as we needed the actual reason why Cena sold his soul in the first place, other than just, wow, what a cool moment. Rock told McAfee that he could have been involved in the Mania finish, and that he's always open for conversations with TKO and WWE, but that he wanted the spotlight to be on Cena and noted, well, I'm pretty busy, I've got loads of other commitments too. He said he loved the finish of Sunday's match, but he would have finessed things a little differently in how they got there. But that's just me creatively. Perhaps he is talking about everyone's favourite Grammy Award-winning musical artist, Travis Scott, who he said he loves, but he was surprised to see him involved, mostly because it made fans expect The Rock was about to come out after him. I knew the moment I saw Travis, well, that immediately amplifies, here comes the final boss. Some parts of it I would have just adjusted a little bit more. I would have finessed it a little bit more. What do you all think of The Rock's explanation? Let me know in the comments down below, where I'll be replying, it doesn't matter what you think! But even with a critically panned final match, WrestleMania 41 succeeded in the most important business metric: money! The year after WWE announced WrestleMania 40 as their most successful event of all time, the promotion has issued a press release titled WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas becomes most successful event in WWE history, as it shatters all-time gate, viewership, merchandise, sponsorship, social records, and that one woman by the barricade when Stone Cold crashed into her. I added that last one. The made-up live attendance saw a combined 124,693 fans, 100,000 of which were probably real. Being distributed worldwide on Netflix meant viewership at home was up 114% from Mania 40, merch sales were up 45% in the building and 86% online, and most importantly, the event featured a record 28 total partners to set an all-time event record for sponsorship revenue. Shout out to the Cone Zone! The Wrestling Observer claims the live attendance revenue was $40 million combined for both nights, which means an average of $400 a ticket per show, going by the estimated actual paid attendance figures. Which brings us to the unlikely moral voice of WWE from out of nowhere, Randy Orton. In a video on TikTok, a fan is shown talking to Randy about buying tickets to WrestleMania, where they say they spent about $30,000 on the weekend. To which Randy looks totally shocked and says, "That's embarrassing to me. That's so much money for a seat." But wrestlers aren't just concerned about WWE's increasingly high ticket prices, they're also annoyed about not being booked. Bayley was set to tag with Lyra Valkyria at WrestleMania, challenging for Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez's women's tag team titles. But on the day before the match, WWE announced Bayley had been attacked backstage, and Lyra would now be teaming with a mystery partner. That mystery partner turned out to be Becky Lynch, who had burned through 2 years of normal Levesque booking in 2 nights, returning from injury, winning the tag belt, losing the tag belt, and turning heel all in the space of 24 hours. PW Insider have reported that Bayley was not really injured, and this was all a part of the plan dating back for weeks. Apparently, there was sympathy for Bayley in the locker room, as she's very respected, and people thought she deserved a Mania spot. Her former tag partner Mercedes Moné over in AEW even tweeted her, "Pointing at you emoji, telephone emoji, money face emoji, Bayley." It must have got Bayley thinking, as she's now said in an interview with Chris Van Vliet. Hunter has gone on a press conference being like, "Bayley's this, Bayley's this. She's everything that you could possibly want out of a superstar, which I appreciate." But it's like, all right, well, what do I need to do to get me there? I've a year and a half left on this current contract. So we'll see what happens then. And then what? Man, I don't know. I've done so much with WWE, and I've been here already for 12 years. Much like Karrion Kross's work shoot promo, there is a chance this could all be a work, as it could tie into her getting revenge on Becky on her return. Now click the video on screen to watch the brand new episode of Me vs. Luke in WWE 2K25 My GM mode in Monday Night Raw.